Hey everyone, this is Chris. Today I am here to show you how to record audio and video onto an external SD card via your JVC baptism camera. This is a super good skill to know because oftentimes on baptism weekends, loved ones will want a video of their loved one getting baptized. So this is a great way to do that in an easy and quick manner so that you don't have to spend hours and hours working on this. Your JVC camera comes with multiple ways of recording video. The one you will want to probably use the most is right here on the top where it says record. That one's pretty self-explanatory. It will toggle back and forth a recording and stopping recording. There's also a similar button on the side here in the camera itself, and that will do the exact same thing. A couple helpful settings that you'll want to utilize on the camera can be found on the body of the camera. And if you click on the display button twice, then now your viewfinder has changed and there are a lot of super helpful settings that can make your life a lot easier. So on the bottom right here, we have two audio meters, channel 1 and channel 2. Both of those are actively going right now and picking up my voice, as you can see, because there are two onboard microphones on this camera. There's one right over here and an identical one right over here. Later in the video, I'm going to show you how to switch from the internal microphone to an external microphone on the actual camera itself, or you can run a board feed to the camera, and I'll show you how to do that as well. Some other helpful indicators on this particular camera as well is right up here. So we have the power indicator indicating that we are on a wired connection, not the battery. I would recommend doing a wired connection at all times, but if you are on battery power, it'll show you how much time is left on that. Right below that, we have an A and B SD card, which I'll show you in a little bit where those actually connect to the camera, but this is going to show you how much time you have left on the SD card depending on the storage size. If we take a look at the camera body here, you'll see that there is a little door that you can open, and you'll have two slots for SD cards. So down here, there is an indicator, which I will show you in a second, that has card A, card B, and then you can select which slot it is actively recording to via that button right there. Here I have a 32 gig SD card, so I'm going to show you how to insert that into the camera. So I'm going to choose slot A, and then all I'm going to do is go follow the direction on the actual camera itself, and then push in until it clicks. And you'll feel it click and lock into place. You can see that the LED indicator is indicating that it sees SD card A. This is a really important LED because it'll show you if it's recording or if it's not recording. So green means it is okay to record and that your SD card is ready to use. If it is flashing red, then that means it is actively recording and writing to your SD card. So that's just something to keep in mind as you are utilizing the camera and preparing to remove the SD card. You want to make sure that it is green. Now that I have my SD card inserted, you can see that A has lit up and it says 110 minutes. That means that I have 110 minutes to write onto that card and that it is properly seeing that card. When I hit record on the camera, you can see that a couple things change. Obviously, it gives you an indication that you are recording, and then it gives you an indication of which SD card you were recording to. One thing to note as you are recording is that when I hit stop on the record button, it is going to create a new file and it's going to stop at that file. When I hit it again, it is going to create a new separate file on your SD card that you can then use as well. This can either be super helpful if you're looking to make different clips of different people, or it can also be annoying if you want to just record all the way through one time and deal with one file. It's up to you and it's up to the person who is going to be managing those files, what you guys want to do, but just be mindful of the length of time that you have remaining. Like I mentioned before, this LED will tell you when you are recording and when it is writing to your SD card and when it is not. Right now I'm not recording, so it is green, but when I hit the record button, you can see that that switches to red, and that tells you that it is actively writing on that SD card. Similar to a computer, if you remove that SD card when it is recording, you will most likely get some corrupted files and then you won't be able to use those. So just be mindful of if it's recording or not and when you can remove that. Another helpful indicator of when you're recording is super easy. It's on your handle unit. This red light will not be red when I stop recording. You can see that I am not recording now, and then when I hit it one more time, it will tell you, just like a normal iMag camera, that it is recording. Now that you know how to record video to your SD card, I'm going to show you how to make sure the best possible audio quality is also hitting your SD card. There are multiple ways of recording audio onto this camera and onto your SD card. I'm going to show you the most effective ways, but if you're ever in a pinch and you just need audio, there are two internal microphones right here and right here that are always recording. Those are the ones that we saw earlier, and those are some that are perfectly fine if you're in a pinch and you just need something. If you're looking for the best possible audio quality, however, I would recommend one of two things. The first being an external microphone mounted to your camera or somewhere else in the room, and then the second would be a front of house feed coming from your front of house console. I'm going to show you how to do both, and then you can choose based on your room and based on your perfect scenario. Regardless of the method that you choose, you are going to be utilizing this audio menu right here to make sure that you're getting what you need to get. Regardless of how you are sending audio, you will most likely be coming into one of these XLR ports. These are XLR ins for a single input, or you can do a stereo input directly into both of those. If you do one mono input, that is totally fine. We can configure the camera to make sure that that is outputting correctly. But if you want a stereo feed, you can absolutely do that with both of these XLR inputs. Flipping the camera around and flipping up this dust cover, you'll see that this is the main menu that we'll be using for audio. You can see that over on this side, we have channel 1 and channel 2. That is a direct correlation with the XLR inputs on the other side. You can see that there are three options. Internal is the first one. Those are the internal microphones. And then you have input 1 and input 2. If you want a mono signal with a single XLR cable, what I would recommend doing is switching channel 1 to record input 1, and then channel 2 to also be recording input 1. This ensures that both of them go to the left and the right internally inside the camera and then onto your SD card. If you're running a stereo channel and you have an input 1 with an XLR and input 2 with an XLR, then leave channel 1 on input 1, and then channel 2, you can switch to input 2. That will give you a true stereo left and right signal that will also record directly to your SD card. For ease of use, I would highly recommend just doing a mono signal and putting both of those on input 1. Over on the audio input menu here, we have input 1 and input 2. Those are both of your XLR inputs. And so what I would do is I would leave both of those on mic level. That'll give you the best possible audio level to automatically be balanced out within the camera. And then if you're using a mic that requires phantom power, you can always switch to mic plus 48 volts. So if you're using input 1, just switch that down to 48 volts. And then if you're using 2 that require 48 volts, you can switch the other one as well. Just a quick reminder, if you are utilizing a mic that does not need phantom power, please make sure that it is on mic input and not mic input with 48 volts. Next on the audio menu, we have two audio selections. So we have auto and manual. This whole section refers to your gain structuring. So what I would recommend is leaving both of those on auto, which means that the camera will hear the incoming feed and set gain levels appropriately. If for whatever reason you need to manually adjust your gain levels, you can switch those both to manual. The top one is your channel 1, whichever one you're selecting over here. And then the second one is your channel 2. Again, what you're selecting on this side. So over here on these scroll wheels, you can see that there is 0 all the way up to 10, and those are your gain settings for individual channels. However, what I would recommend doing for ease of use is switching it over to auto on both of those channels. That way you get the best possible gain structuring. If you're using a pencil condenser mic, then it actually has a really handy holder right up here on the camera. All you have to do is unscrew this top part here, and then lift it up, and then you have a spot for your condenser. Throw your condenser in, throw this lid back on, and screw it in nice and tight, and then you have a perfectly aimed condenser mic that you can use to pick up your audio. Okay, just to give you a quick idea of how to operate the audio settings here, I have a microphone in my hand that is connected via the XLR inputs, and you can see that it is right now picking up audio. However, when I tap on this microphone, you can see that it is clearly not actually picking up the audio from the microphone, because you would see that meter spike pretty hard. Instead, right now it's still currently set to the internal microphone. Here on my audio menu, I'm going to make sure that channel 1 is set to input 1, which is where my mic is plugged in. And then I'm going to take channel 2 and I'm going to do the same thing. Now again, I'm not actually plugged into channel 2, but I want this mic to be summed into a mono signal, which will then meter equally for my left and my right. Now if we jump back to my audio meter on my viewfinder and I tap my mic, you can see that it is spiking pretty hard, indicating that it is indeed recording the audio of my microphone. This is the same process that you would use with a front of house console feed as well. You want to make sure that your channel 1 and channel 2 is receiving either an equal signal, or if you're running a stereo pair using XLR 1 and 2, then you want to make sure that those are both also showing up separately on your camera. If you want to run audio to your camera via your front of house console, a quick and easy way to do that would be to send a stereo signal, your left-right out from the console, directly into a matrix or an aux send, whatever your console supports. So to do that, I'm going to select my left-right signal. I'm going to use a matrix, and then I'm going to choose whichever matrix I am outputting on the back of my console, and then I'm going to turn it on, and then make sure that the amount of signal that I need is pushing to that output. So this one in particular is routed to the back of my console to a specific XLR out, and then from there you can run that XLR cable over to your camera. You'll want to make sure that the audio levels on your camera's meter is metering at a optimal position. So you do not want it to be clipping, but you also don't want it to be super quiet. So as you are doing that, adjust the output level of this output to make sure that you're getting the optimal amount of audio to your camera. If you're not sure how to do this on your particular console, make sure to reach out to your regional production tech and they can help you do that. If you have a camera operator and they would like to monitor the audio coming in, you can do that via headphones on the back of the camera. If you plug a set of headphones into this headphone jack here, you'll be able to monitor what is being recorded to the SD card. To do that, you're going to go to your menu and go down to AV set and audio set, and then you're going to scroll down until you find monitor. So monitor can be in stereo, it can be in mix, but you'll mainly want to make sure that it is not just channel 1 or channel 2. That is listening to just one of those channels, so you're going to hear it in one ear and not the other. So just make sure that your settings are set to stereo. All right, so I've connected my external audio source. In my case, it's a regular handheld microphone. And I've inserted my SD card and made sure that I have plenty of time to record. And so now I'm ready to record. I'm going to take my camera here and hit record. Now, as you can see, my audio has changed because I am now picking up audio from my dynamic mic in my hand. You can see I got my little light right there, and it is all recording to my SD card. When you're finished recording and your LED is green, all you have to do is press on your SD card and it'll pop right out. And then you're good to go. And then I would recommend just closing the dust cover to make sure that nothing gets in the ports. So that is how you record audio and video to an SD card. Once you're done, you can remove the SD card, throw it into a computer, and grab your recordings. Hopefully this was super helpful for you guys. If you have any questions, please do not hesitate to reach out to a regional or to the production support channel, and we'd be happy to help you out and work out all the kinks. Be sure to check out some of the other videos we have on our JVC baptism cameras, and hope to see you in the next one.